Can Bron break Ciampa? It looks like he can. Coming up next week at Halloween Havoc, these two are going to go at it for the NXT title. Plus, AEW Dynamite, we got to see a clinic with Daniel Bryan and Bobby Fish. We're going to jump into all of that in tonight's edition of The Debrief. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! What's going on, everyone? Welcome to The Debrief. I'm Jose G, and filling in for Rico El Glorioso, my top story colleague, my brother from another mother, Kevin Kellam. What's up, broski?
I did a little Rico tribute there. I know he does that. So I have to. I didn't do that. I didn't think of that part. Yeah, we're talking NXT. We'll get some AEW talking, but we had NXT last night, and NXT in an interesting position here with 2.0 and Halloween Havoc, their first big kind of like destination show, even though it's not a network special. We'll talk about it and definitely want your take on screen. And we expect, obviously, the AEW, WWE, NXT tribalism. I guess we'll address it.
We always get it every Wednesday night. Yeah, it's on fire here. Guys, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. We're well on our way to 22,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Help us get there. We're about to cross that milestone. Help us get to 30,000 by the end of the year, guys, by smashing that notification bell so you never miss whenever we drop brand new content. Kevin's got a great interview right now with Drew McIntyre. You can check that out right now on the YouTube channel. Plus, if you're watching us on Facebook, go ahead and share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in the conversation, because we got lots to talk about in tonight's review for AEW and NXT 2.0. But let's jump in fresh off of last night's NXT 2.0, the go-home show pretty much for Halloween Havoc. Now, it should be noted, Kevin, this is the first major, just like you said, the first major pay-per-view style show that NXT is doing in this NXT 2.0 era in Halloween Havoc. Last year, we got to see an awesome setup with Shotzi Blackheart hosting last year. She did a fantastic job.
I loved Halloween Havoc last year.
And this year, we're going to get the return of the Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal. And we got our host last night as L.A. Knight defeated Grayson Waller to get the win and to become the host for next week's Halloween Havoc. You digging it? You digging LA Knight as a host?
I think you have a big personality. I think a lot of people thought maybe he was going to get called up in the draft, and that didn't happen. And here he is on NXT. I got to move this over so you don't see anything behind the curtain, right? I think it's a way to get LA Knight on the show. I know it seems like a dismissive thing, but he is a big enough personality where this works. When Shotzi did it, it made complete sense. You know, she's the daughter of Rob Zombie. That's what she looks like, and that hits the gimmick. He's a big showman. You know, he comes out there, he wears a top hat and tells you the greatest show on earth. It would make sense. He's loud enough. He can pull this off. I think it works. And it makes sense. And NXT needs something. They need destinations. It can't get lost in the shuffle. They can't just be.
I vote
if they're developmental. They can't just be written off as developmental.
Exactly. But I also vote in this type of case. Shotzi did such an amazing job last year that she should be the designated host for every Halloween Havoc as long as she is in the WWE. Doesn't matter if she's on the main roster or NXT. She should be that designated host for Halloween Havoc. That's just my opinion. That's how much I enjoyed her as a host last year.
Have her come back just to do Halloween Havoc every year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. But last night's show opened up with Carmelo Hayes, the brand new NXT North American champion, who snuck his way and swerve last week at the closing moments of NXT, where he executed his contract to a championship title match of his choosing. He made his call, and he did not miss. He called the shot. He did not miss. And this week, he's all about making the North American Championship the A championship. He doesn't care if management doesn't like it. He doesn't care if Tomasso Ciampa doesn't like it. He is well on his way to make NXT his own, and he wants to make that title as prestigious as possible. do you think it's time that title's gotten the recognition that, because we really haven't seen a whole lot of that title being defended recently?
I mean, Carmelo Hayes winning that NXT championship, almost cashing in his breakout tournament title win, is as if it was Money in the Bank. That was a surprise. That was really, really cool. They got people talking about NXT in a positive way. And you look at this show, you need forward momentum. He can't just be a guy who wins the title and gets lost in the shuffle. We've seen that happen before, right? So I'd like the forward progression. This is almost a bigger deal for him to have the title and now be defending it against Gargano, because Gargano is like one of those fundamental pillars of the NXT brand. He's one of a handful of guys that have been held off to stay on NXT and keep the brand strong, with Tomasso Ciampa, with Io Shirai. They're still there, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So if they're going to be there, have them do something interesting with these hot new guys that are coming up fast. Carmelo Hayes would be the fastest rising star they have.
Absolutely.
He immediately won a title. He was introduced into the company a few months ago. So I mean, this guy is less than a year within WWE, and they already strapped him. I'm of the thought that this is the way to go. I mean, he has touches and glimmers of a lot of different people. They pair him with a Trick there to have that 2-man attitude, two bad dudes with attitude type thing they did with Shawn Michaels and Diesel. You hear the rumblings that Shawn Michaels has his fingerprints all over this as a producer, and Gargano is a Shawn Michaels guy. He's a guy that has that. I say go with it. I think these guys can have an incredible feud, not just one match, but a handful of matches. You have Dexter as a side character. It's kind of his muscle. This isn't Trick just coming in and being able to muscle his way in. They could have done that. They could have built up to that. And at some point, Dexter Lewis comes back and says, my son-in-law, right? And they brought up the daughter thing. And I thought that was kind of cool. And I wouldn't say the hot shot it. They kind of skipped the obvious steps and got us to the interesting thing of right away, I'm Johnny Gargano. I don't have to say I'm going to beat this guy and then get a title shot. I'm Johnny Gargano, and I'm going to fight you for that title, and it's going to happen. And I thought that was interesting and a little bit more of a serious Johnny. That was great dialogue. Like, how much of a better promo is he than when he started in WWE? That was always
absolutely.
That was always great. A crack on Johnny Gargano. Was he came to WWE. He's a great wrestler and he can't talk. Now he's one of the best talkers in the entire
interesting.
company.
It's very interesting with the whole Gargano situation because, if you guys remember, we had reported a few months ago that there was a plan for Gargano to be the top heel in NXT. Well, looking at it as of the last few weeks, especially last night, it almost seems that Gargano has had a slow babyface turn, which is fine because he is very over with the crowd. Doesn't matter if he's babyface or heel. The crowd absolutely loves him. Doesn't matter which side of the spectrum he's hanging on. And I'm okay with that just because, he mentioned it last night in his promo. Austin Theory is in Raw. Candace is at home, being pregnant. Mm-hmm. And Indy is on her way to, try to become a tag team champion. So where does he go? So he's just going to go from where he started. And I think that was great. I think that's good for Gargano. And it's also going to help Carmelo in the long run.
I thought this was a hot open to the show in terms of promos. You could do the thing where they always open with a match. This was interesting. This creates a match that you look forward to. Do have to talk about this. They have a lot of job matches on NXT. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of new characters that they want to push, and there's a lot of new people being thrown at you. And I heard some people I was talking to with Sportskeeda saying, "Oh, this wasn't a great episode." I watched this right before we went on today. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't a great episode. It was. I thought it was. One of our guys said it was the worst episode of NXT 2.0 they ever saw. I didn't feel that at all. Like I thought this was a pretty compelling episode, even with job matches. Odyssey Jones defeated Andre Chase. Andre Chase doesn't need to ever win a match. He needs to be a goofy spinoff of a college football coach with his goofy. He's a comedy character. He has a student section. I thought that was funny. And then he gets wrecked by this over-the-top big man personality in Odyssey Jones. That's a fun job match. That's a fun
leveled up Mark Henry right there, man.
Yeah, future Mark Henry. This guy's doing running frog splashes in the ring, and he's like a super heavy.
Yeah, the guy is unbelievable. Odyssey Chase is something completely out of this world. Now, something that really caught my eye last night during the broadcast was a vignette promo with Joe Gacy. I don't know if you had a chance to check out a little bit of this promo, but let me tell you, I'm getting hooked more and more every single week with Joe Gacy's character work. His microphone work, I think, is excellent. It fits the persona of that, disgruntled snowflake millennial that's always complaining about
he's
needing
using
a safe
all the
space.
buzzwords.
He's using all the buzzwords. I think he's doing a fantastic job. And then adding Parker Boudreaux, who now known as Gunnar Harlan, into the mix, being to follow me, my little snowflake. I think this is going to be something really cool down the line.
I don't know, man. I'm on the fence about it because they haven't really pulled the trigger with it and made it a match yet, right? So I'm on the fence with it. I don't hate it. I think it's interesting that they're really making characters. I think there's just a lot of characters being shot at you at once, right? And they're kind of seeing what sticks.
It's literally that.
Yeah, and I didn't find any offense in this.
No, not at all.
I didn't find any offense in the character. I didn't lose some people that are kind of offended by it. I didn't. I understand what they're going for. Also, this isn't me making the AEW comparison. If they did this character in AEW, I don't think anyone would remotely have an issue with it. They do. They have a character. MJF says things like this all the time, and he says it like outright mean, like he wants to piss you off. This guy says it like he's supposed to be nice to you, and he's not. He's a manipulative heel. He is. He's gonna be a chicken shiz heel. This is gonna be a guy who runs from things and manipulates people. He's gonna be a Paul Heyman that wrestles. Like so. That's. I mean that in the
good
right
analogy. That's a great analogy, though.
Now, what are we going to see out of Gunnar Harlan? There was so much hype on this guy. He was this big, colorful personality on social media, and there were people saying he's baby Brock. He looks like Brock Lesnar, so he's going to be this huge star for WWE. And he has all these tattoos. He looks like a millennial, like a younger Xenial, like Gen Z version of Brock Lesnar. Gen Z, not millennial would be my generation. So you see him and then they kind of like strip him of the character and just kind of make him this stone cold machine, and I don't that kind of worried me. I was like, this guy had some momentum online. Yeah. You bring him in here and you just break it all down. And that is the WWE thing, right? Like you come here, we want a new character, or unless you're like an AJ Styles, you're kind of the exception to the rule. These guys weren't going to be the exception to the rule. They aren't going to come into WWE unless, they had some momentum on television before. Joe Gacy, veteran guy, knows how to cut a promo, but other people, I'm okay with it. I thought it was interesting the way they shot it, like with the glass and everything like that. That's a good vignette. That's a good vignette. You do something cinematic that like pops like that on screen.
Yeah. And to your point, it does feel like, with the barrage of different characters that we've been getting this last month from NXT 2.0, it feels like a lot. They just feel like they're really trying to see what works. I'm kind of on the side where, when it comes to Parker, Gunnar Harlan, he didn't have any wrestling experience prior to coming in here, which is fine because there's a lot of athletes in WWE that didn't come from a wrestling background, and they did very well, especially because they want to mold you into their version of what a WWE superstar should be. So I think they're just taking baby steps with Gunnar. We'll see what's going to happen down the pipeline there. But we did have a great triple threat match with some Halloween Havoc implications.
Great.
Io Shirai going up against Persia Perota and JC Jane from Toxic Attraction. They're going to be in a triple threat tag team match next week at Halloween Havoc. And this match was to see who was going to be able to spin the wheel to make the deal to add that stipulation to next week. Io Shirai got a win on here, and she spun the wheel, and we now know that it's going to be a Scareway to Hell ladder match.
Scareway
to hell.
Now, is that any different than a normal ladder match, or is it just something they throw in there to make it sound?
They're probably going to add some fog, maybe some strobes, maybe some zombies around there.
Is there a stair
last year?
Do we have like a cinematic match next week? Is there any matches that are like that?
I don't think so. I don't think anything.
They don't have like a super spooky character on the show. Like Dexter Lumis and Cameron Grimes, when they did that made sense. You know what I mean? Like, but they don't have Dexter like in a match. Like, he's not booked for anything next week.
Like, I wonder if like they're gonna have a step, right? And they're gonna have like LED lights full of fire to see the
overproduced thing.
Just be completely ridiculous and overproduced, and I'll be okay with it.
Just because of the setting that it's on and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Sean Smith says exploding ladders. Exploding ladders.
because that worked out really well the last time we saw that. Legado del Fantasma, we had a match, a little promo before the match went down with the madrina of La Familia, my girl Elektra Lopez. But she got beat, man. She got beat like that. I'm not entirely sure. Cora Jade, the young 20-year-old making her way into 2.0. I think this is her second week on the roster, beating Elektra Lopez, who's a veteran in the game. This caught me by surprise big time.
I think it's, the veteran can take the loss here. Cora Jade needs it more. This is a youth movement in NXT. Even if you have Tomasso Ciampa as your champion, this is a youth movement. This whole show is about youth stuff. It will not surprise me if Gargano loses to Carmelo Hayes. It will not surprise me if Bron Breakker takes that title off Ciampa. We'll get to that.
That would not be surprising at all.
We'll get to that main event where they tag with each other and what's going to happen next week at Halloween Havoc, But this is about a youth movement, and she can take that loss. Cora is smaller than Elektra. The power was in Elektra's side. She had Legado del Fantasma. And also, at the end, after this match, she got the flash pin roll-up. Her boyfriend backstage gets whomped by Legado del Fantasma, and she just has to sit there and watch them do it and say, oh, I don't know what favors that did for her. It kind of made her look like a dork. And I was like, you're watching your boyfriend get beat up, and then this tag team.
Yeah, whenever there's relationships involved like that in these type of storylines, it's almost better where they don't acknowledge that they're together.
At least not for a while. Just let her establish her character first and then go in that direction. That's just my take.
Man, but Legado del Fantasma last night on fire. They defeated my new favorite tag team, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs. I was hoping that Jensen and Briggs would get another solid win. As I see they got a big future ahead of them. Then we also got a video package for the women's championship match next week at Halloween Havoc with Mandy Rose going up against Raquel Gonzalez. You want to make an early prediction on that match there, Kevin?
It's give me who's in that match again? I was reading a comment here. Is it
Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez? Big mommy cool.
I thought this could have had a little bit more heat. I would have liked something in the ring with them on the show instead of a video vignette. I do think they lean on these video vignettes sometimes on NXT in a 2-hour show,
especially on the go homes.
On the go home shows, they do that a lot. This is the NXT thing here, and I'm of the thought I don't see this belt coming off Raquel. I don't think it's Mandy Rose's time, but if they really wanted to shake things up, that'd be a way to do it. And they've done some crazier things on NXT recently with the way the show looks and having Tomasso Ciampa win the title back and Joe drop it so quickly and Bron Breakker becomes such a big guy who people feel could become a champion here. I'm 50-50 on this. It doesn't feel like an easy to predict match, and I don't feel bad saying I don't know who's going to win a match because sometimes it can be more interesting. The real test is on Raquel's proven herself as in-ring go machine, as a big person. Is Mandy Rose? She's been in the WWE system now for a long time. Had highlights on her on Monday Night Raw for years. Was in Tough Enough, did all these different things. Had a feature match on SummerSlam a few years ago, but has never had a match where people say, wow, that was a great Mandy Rose match. That people haven't said that. And that isn't a rip at Mandy. Yet. They haven't said it yet. This is a real test for her. Is this assignment that she got in NXT something that she can excel at? Is this her last shot? Is this a demotion from Monday Night Raw to go to NXT? Some people could see that within the WWE system. I don't know, because now she has a title opportunity. She's never had a real strong title opportunity on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. So, and she has, she's got a faction behind her. JC Jane took that awful spill and the women's triple threat match. I know some people wanted to talk about that. She did take a really, really nasty spill, fell on her face. Update is that she's okay. Wrestling Observer reporting that she took a CT scan. She came back clear. It was scary. Not clear if she got a concussion, but that was bad. That was nasty. Will she be in her corner? Exactly. But you look at this, and I'm of the thought it could go either way. I mean, Raquel could keep this title for a while, but also, who's next after Mandy if she beats Mandy?
And that's the question, right? Who's next if, after this, right? I'm almost of the thought that if we have all the title changes next week at Havoc, that includes the NXT women's, the NXT, and the tag, this is literally the hardest reset button on NXT that I have ever seen if that happens next week. With that being said, I think that Mandy Rose may be the one to dethrone Raquel just for the fact they put a faction on her. She's been on TV for the past 4 weeks without taking a break. They've been featuring Toxic Attraction heavily in the last 4 weeks. So I mean, if you're featuring them that much on TV, that almost gives me that sign that they're probably going to put it on her for now.
Yeah, I could see them maybe delaying it and maybe doing it at a different date. But I'm that makes sense. The logic there isn't faulted. Like it makes sense that you could go in that direction and get something out of this.
And it'll also raise a lot of eyebrows. People will be like, well, what the heck just happened? It'll get people talking about NXT again, hopefully.
And I know people say they don't talk about NXT. NXT did well in comparison to the recent ratings. They did around 600,000, 0.14 in the demographic. They're also up against playoffs and all these different things that are on TV right now too. There were a lot of other odd things on this show. Can we talk about this really weird In the Woods promo with Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner?
Oh, you're talking about the new bromance?
The new bromance. And Von Wagner is certainly somebody that reportedly WWE really likes. He has a larger-than-life look, and he works out in the woods, and he hammers tires, and he picks up logs and runs with them. He's a man's man. And Kyle O'Reilly is on his bike with his helmet, and they're going to go mountain biking. And he pulls up in his big Ford F-150, and he has no intention of mountain biking. I'm going to work out in the woods. I'm gonna chop wood, and I'm going to lift.
What do we do?
Log.
Oh, that'll work. We're
gonna pick up this log, and then we're gonna run with it. And then, hey, you want to do some more curls? Yeah, these cold ones. It was just like it was cornball.
But I think that was the intention, right? I mean, with Index, those were the corniest.
But they worked. The more they did them,
give it some time. Maybe they will warm your heart up, Kevin.
Tony D'Angelo is really corny and on the nose, like.
It's wrestling.
It's wrestling. You need burlesque characters. You need characters that are big and you don't show a whole lot, right? So it certainly is interesting to say the least. I'm not saying I liked it, but it was also like you were in the world title picture like a little while ago, and now you're fucking running around with clocks. Like that was just my take. I was like, Kyle O'Reilly,
watch next week. If they do a Rocky 3 training montage next week, I'm on board. I am going to lose my shit, Kevin.
No, it's Rocky 4. Are we going up the mountain?
But no, Rocky 3, bro. Rocky 3 when he's training with Apollo.
Oh, they run down the beach and they hug?
Running down the beach.
Yes, I'm on board.
Yes, bro.
I'm on board. Dude, Rocky movies.
Both montages.
Rocky movies are cornball. Like that is the best type of it.
Great.
Sorry for swearing, by the way. I know we're getting in trouble with the algorithm, but
that's just all right,
it is what it is. I want to get to some questions here. We got people asking about different things here. Here we go. Anthony Manzano, Tony D'Angelo's baby. Anthony goes, Jose, how do you feel about the debut next week of Solo Sikoa? How am I saying this correctly?
Sikoa.
I did not want to mess that up. The king of the island. I like that.
Yep.
They didn't show his face. It was all in silhouette. Of course, this is a cousin of the Usos. He's of the NOI family. That is the descendants of the Rock, the Samoan dynasty. A lot of hype on him with Roman Reigns being at the top of the mountain. Anyone related to the Rock, there is expectations. So I think he comes in, he wrecks somebody next week. I don't know. I don't want to say he's going to be at the top of the card right away, but if you have a little Braun Breaker on your hands here, it's interesting.
I kind of almost think that that's exactly what's going to happen, Kevin. I think they know that the audience knows who this kid is. People know that this is a Fatu. This is the third son of Rikishi, who's going to be making his way into the WWE. He already has the big name, but it seems like WWE doesn't really want the general audience to know that, okay, well, he's related
they don't
to
need
the Usos.
It's not something you need
but
to
that's why they
right
named
away.
him Solo. That's why they named him Solo, to be alone, right?
Yeah.
So I think we might get a glimpse of Solo Sikoa next week during the main event. Maybe after the end. Something's going to happen. I might be wrong.
Jason Michael goes, what if Ciampa turns heel and low blows Brock? To pick up
good.
We'll talk about that. We do have Braun Breaker, the Rex Steiner, the son of Rick Steiner, coming up next week. We will have an appearance by Chucky, by the way. Have you seen the old clip of Rick Steiner and Chucky on WCW? Ridiculous,
buddy. It's great.
It'd be really cool if they get if Braun Breaker gets to like punch the doll or something like that. I'd be fan.
They
of
can,
that.
especially with it's Halloween week next week. It's Halloween Havoc. Chucky's on the USA Network. It just makes perfect sense.
We had a bunch of Gaga. We'll run down Braun Breaker and Ciampa here before we end up the show here. I just want to get your comments on screen here. SC Williams says Mandy Rose wins. This is SC's prediction. Mandy Rose wins. The masked woman attacking this masked woman. Have you seen this masked woman? Becoming Dakota Kai. Kevin Jose send Raquel to Raw to Beasley Naviga's bodyguard.
That would be
they already had her do that. She already did that already. She did that with
Dakota. Yeah.
But it's different on Raw. So many more people are going to see you do it. Like another 3 million people are going to see you do it on Monday Night Raw. It's okay.
But yeah, let's talk about this main event real quick before we quickly glance over AEW. But we did have Bron Breakker, Tomasso Ciampa in a tag team match against the grizzled young veterans. Man, I feel like they keep getting the short end of the stick, man. GYV,
gatekeepers, dude.
I know. They're just getting the short end of the stick every single time. But that's okay. They needed to build up this matchup for next week. They were able to coexist during the match. Some parts of the match where Bron Breakker wasn't there, Ciampa was trying to get a tag in. He wasn't there. Vice versa happened. But at the end, they were able to get the win. Then we had a nice little face-off there at the end. I'm pretty hyped up. I think this is going to be one of the most hard-hitting matches just because of Bron's style. He's just so explosive.
That press slam where he puts you up above his head.
Beautiful.
And then switches and then throws you up. And you're talking about a guy who himself is already like, 270, 280? So he's already got the grace and the power to be able to put you up over your head. He also has the dexterity to pivot his body and then catch someone who's over 200 pounds and then plant them in a completely different direction. He's literally spinning you like a pizza pie and putting you down and cooking you. And that is no shot at Tony D'Angelo, who had another job match and alluded to having another person in his trunk of his car and all these different things, but still over like Rover. I digress. My ADD is all over the place. I think Bron Breakker.
Stick to the topic, Kevin. Stick to the topic.
I think Bron Breakker has a real shot at winning this title next week. If WWE really wants to go somewhere with this NXT 2.0 thing, they really want to shock the world, they go in this direction. In case they want to hold this out for a takeover and do some type of rematch. But the build is here. The build has been done. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a groundbreaking story.
You can get a good program out of it, though. You can get a good 3 solid matches out of these guys and tell a really good story.
But we've never seen Bron Breakker go into deep water. You know, he's always had short matches. You know, he's kind of had the Goldberg build. He's always had short matches. He has a lot of dynamic power, a lot of personality, can show it off in promos. But Ciampa can go main event. He can do the 20, 30-minute match. Is this something that Bron can do? What? Did it with Walter. He had the best match. He had one of the best matches of the year with Walter. So I mean, is this something he can do? And Ciampa, I don't think has a problem dropping the title. He's going to do what's right for the brand, right for the show. But is it something he needs? Does he need to set someone up again and lose the title? I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. And it's very 50-50 to me. I like that with the title matches, right? If I can't say for sure. I'm going to say Bron Breakker wins it just because they want to get people talking about NXT. That is a way to do it. If they don't do it with him, they're going to do it with Mandy Rhodes. One of these titles is going off him. I don't see.
I think both of them do. I think both of them do.
Oh,
I think this is going to be hard. I think this is going to be a hard reset, dude. I mean, if you look at the color scheme of the new NXT logo and you look at the color scheme of Bron Breakker's singlet, I mean, it's not coincidental, ladies and gentlemen. You have to put one piece fits the other, and the problem is solved. I think Bron Breakker is going to be pretty much the new flag bearer of NXT when this match happens next week. If it doesn't happen next week, maybe it happens at TakeOver. I don't know. I did want to answer a question. Christopher Ryan Cooper was asking me if I'm drinking that German grapefruit cerveza. No, I'm drinking Pumpkinhead, Shipyard Pumpkinhead, my friend.
Oh, well, it's with the season, right?
Of course.
It's with the season. Pumpkin spice. You got to stay on point here. And Tim Hardy with a take here. He goes, Halloween Havoc looks fantastic next week. I hope Chucky and Bronson do something. See, I'm right. I want to see that. I want to see that happen as well. I don't know if USA is going to want to have Chucky get beat up by a real person, though. I don't think they're going to want to do that.
So a couple quick things to cover here on AEW before we head out for the show. AEW was a really good show. It was on Saturday last week. Malachi Black had a great match with Dante Martin. The first match that Malachi Black actually acknowledges his opponent and shows respect. He showed respect to Dante Martin on Saturday. The AAA World Tag Team Championship match, we had Lucha Brothers go up against Las Super Ranas, which, funny enough, Kevin, if you did not know, do you know that frog that was in the back of their thing? That's actually called a coqui, which is a Puerto Rican frog. So
a Puerto Rican frog.
A Puerto Rican frog. But we come to find out that under the masks is none other than Pinnacle members FTR. They beat the Lucha Brothers and become the new AAA World Tag Team Champions. I thought that was pretty cool. Some little backhaul workings between MJF and Andrade. I don't know what's going on there.
How active is AAA right now that they can have those title belts just kind of float over to All Elite Wrestling?
You know what? I usually just watch AAA only during Triple Mania. I really don't.
Okay, you're casual with it.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
just kind of keep on top of it in Triple Mania and just
follow
the highlights.
It is certainly exposure for the brand. You know, it's exposure for them to get, and it's a fun little swerve. Them wearing masks, we've seen that done before. I don't know what favors this did for them, but they're okay. I think the Lucha Brothers will be okay. They're a Teflon act in terms of what they are. They don't have to do a whole lot personality wise. They go out there, they cut a little promo, and then they just have banger matches. They are steak in the ring. You know what you're getting. And then FTR is that to a degree too. I do think FTR needs fun stuff like this. They are that Memphis throwback act, gimmicks, swerving, gaga, like that they need a little bit more of that. Especially as you become more of a longer in the tooth act. You need to do things that are interesting, not just we won the match and we cheated. You gotta have a little bit more, on there.
You know what's funny? Well, not really funny, but what's interesting with Lucha Bros, with Benta and Rey Fenix, they just dropped those AAA titles, but they are currently the AEW Tag Team Champions. Now there is a brand new promotion in Puerto Rico in the Caribbean called LAWE, Latin American Wrestling Entertainment. The president of this company is none other than Epico Colon, Orlando Colon, the son of one Carlitos Colon. He came out public yesterday about this. Mm-hmm. A dream tag team match has been announced for their first event in November. It's going to be the Lucha Bros versus the current NWA tag team champions, La Rebelión 666, and Mecha Wolf, the guys in NWA. So that's going to be a fantastic a fantastic matchup. And this is just the stuff that they're doing all over the place. So Lucha Bros are just really just killing it right now.
Killing act, man. AEW is doing some great business. They're going to take a hit here with Dynamite being on Saturday nights at the playoffs, but they're still trying to make these shows interesting and give you something. The Eliminator tournament is going to be a part of that as well. Steven Chambers bringing up the Eliminator tournament being rolled out. Looks like Danielson versus Mox in the final. That is one of those matches we heard. It was rumored.
I am so upset about this bracket, Kevin. I got to tell you.
Lay this bracket on me.
This bracket, why is Miro not on this bracket, Kevin?
Well, the rankings, though. But what about those rankings?
He only has one loss on his record, which is the loss that he just lost to Sammy Guevara. That's the only loss on his record. And how the hell is he not in this tournament? Disrespectful. Again, disrespectful to Miro.
Disrespectful. All right, so we have Dustin Rhodes, Bryan Danielson here. We have Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston. We have Powerhouse Hobbs versus Orange Cassidy. Jon Moxley versus Dark Order's 10. All right, so Mox is going to mow down Dark Order's 10. That guy can take the loss, right?
Just like he mowed down Wheeler Yuta.
I think Powerhouse Hobbs is still a project. I think he gets to mow down Orange Cassidy. So there you go. There's your semifinal on one side. Danielson is going through Rhodes like a hot knife through butter. And then
why is even Rhodes on this bracket though?
The rankings are supposed to mean something, right?
If
you're a ranked guy,
bro.
If you're a ranked guy, why are you not in this tournament? Like, what does that mean? You go to AEW's website, you get rankings, right? These are the rankings here. I'm pulling them up right now as I talk to you. And how is Hangman Page not in this? Hangman Page going to get a title shot, right? So that's kind of a mute point, right? But then you have like Miro he's the number 5 guy in the company. You're absolutely right. He's not in this. He's not in this tournament. Doesn't make any sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. Again, I've been saying this week after week on this show, guys. The disrespect to Miro is real. And AEW, you guys need to do something. You need to take better care of that man. The guy has a really good record, has been putting on great matches, hella promos, and you continuously disrespect the man. Please do something for Miro. Get him in this bracket.
The rankings are weird, dude. And these are just from the 15th. The tag team rankings have Bowens and Caster, the Acclaim, ranked as their number 5 tag team. Yet they have the best record of any of the tag teams. Maybe they just took 4 losses recently, if I'm not keeping track here.
Maybe the rankings are decided by whoever gets most TV time. Oh, you get these many minutes.
But the dark matches,
you're ranked this much higher.
Yeah, the matches we film on our web series count, right? Those are the ones that
see, problems. Oh God.
So it's a ton of stuff, man. It's a ton.
All right, man. So the main event for Dynamite,
Victor Nash got a point here too. MJF, Brian Cage, Darby Allin. Big Star is not also in this tournament.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, mind you, maybe they have something else.
System absolutely stinks.
Yeah, it is. And the thing is that these tournaments are supposed to be fun. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing. If you really wanted to make this tournament legit, you would have had qualifiers to be in the tournament.
Well, I mean, Danielson already did that. He beat Suzuki and Bobby Fish in like consecutive nights this week.
True.
He's the wrestler of the week. That makes complete sense. Mox versus Danielson is a match. I think they've done it once or twice in WWE, but never as like a feature pay-per-view type singles thing. So that could be interesting for them. And Steven Chambers saying maybe they're going to go with Sammy versus Miro as a rematch at Full Gear, the pay-per-view they have coming up on the 13th in Minneapolis. It's not exactly clear. We haven't really seen much of Miro since he dropped that strap, and he was kind of red hot going into that match here. And then Jeff Samuel saying Miro is like how he was in WWE. It goes full circle. I don't know if that's a diss or not.
I wouldn't call it full circle just because what he did in AEW, he completely reinvented himself in AEW. He would put in an angle with Bobby Lashley and Lana that was just very, very cringe to watch for weeks on end. At least he was a total badass in AEW with this whole Redeemer character that he was doing. It was great, but I don't know what the hell is going on there, man. I have no idea what's going on with Miro. Bryan Danielson had a fantastic match with Bobby Fish. He won by submission. And then let's see what else we got. We got the Super Click. Adam Cole and the Young Bucks went up against the Dark Order, and they got the win by pinfall. So overall, pretty good.
Has Dynamite. The Dark Order ever gotten a win over the Elite in this feud? Have they ever gotten like a big win?
For the last 2 years that I've been watching AEW, I can't remember a single moment where the Dark Order has gotten a win over the Elite.
It's interesting here. A couple questions before we get off here. Back to NXT. Anthony wants to know, Kevin, can you please explain the purpose of having the Creed brothers, this hot tag team, lose to Imperium if Vince was trying to build them as the next challenge for MSK? There's more than enough time to do that. Imperium have those shots now. Imperium are the guy that are taking champions now.
There was also some shenanigans there, weren't there?
Shenanigans. It wasn't a clean loss.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It's that 50-50 ending where we didn't get beat clean, like that. So there's that. It's a dusty finish. I'm not saying it's clean. I'm not saying it's the finest
that match, that Creed brothers and Imperium match, that was one of the very few times I've seen Imperium actually at a disadvantage.
Yes.
That was really good.
Yeah, and they were also wrestling almost. It's weird to see them now as baby faces because they've been heels for so long. It is very, very odd to see them as that, but it wasn't too much of a. You would think that would be like a hard switch for them, but it wasn't. It wasn't that much of a hard switch.
Not at all. All right, guys. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the show, Kevin. So I want to thank you, Kevin, for filling in for Rico. I always appreciate you, man. You're the man, bro. You're my broski. What you got going on? Well, go ahead and plug your stuff in.
Oh, I was just gonna say tomorrow we got Crown Jewel.
We got Crown Jewel. We got a lot of stuff tomorrow.
Yeah, like less than 14 hours from now, we'll be doing this again. We will be live after Crown Jewel in the afternoon. That starts at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. And we will be watching. I know for the international fans, they love this because they get to watch it like on their time.
Yeah.
And that'll be interesting for them. And it'll be certainly an interesting show. The Undertaker is in Saudi Arabia. He did introduce Pitbull today. So is he going to be appearing at... He's going to be doing something at this show. There's no way you have him there and he doesn't do something at this show.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide. Mr. 305.
Mr. 305.
Talking to you from the top of the tower in Tokyo. And so are we gonna see him do something here on this pay-per-view? I do think we're gonna see him do something there. I don't think this is his return.
My thing now is Pitbull gonna be singing Fireball to the Saudi Arabia crowd over there in Riyadh.
Well, he already did a show. Is he staying in town for another night? You know, like, are we gonna do this again? With Riyadh, so we'll see what happens here with this. I think this is a stacked show on paper. You have that Hell in a Cell match with Edge and Rollins, which I want to see what that crowd is going to react to something like that because they've never seen something like that before.
No,
they've seen it on television. They've never seen it live. It's different to see it live. Seeing the Hell in a Cell live is a very shocking thing when you see it. And is somebody going to go off that? Or are they all that craziness with Edge in his neck? All that stuff. I know. Lot to look forward to. I actually think on paper, this is a pretty strong show.
Yeah, I agree. I think tomorrow's going to be one to definitely keep your eye on. I think people aren't really giving this event the credit that it deserves because on paper, it looks like a really stacked card and it looks like it's going to be a good show.
Kenny Bolin SP3 doing a full preview of that. That is up now on our channel if you want to check that out. And once again, we'll be live after that show. Make sure your notifications are on because it isn't clear exactly when the show ends. So we want to go live within about 10 minutes of the show ending. So just keep an eye out for that. Make sure those notifications are on. Don't forget to subscribe to our Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. We're also available in your podcast ears on Spotify and all the different apps. So that'll do it for me. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Kev Kellam. Jose, they can follow you at Jose_G_official. All right.
You guys know where to find me. Also, make sure you go ahead, follow me on Recons of Wrestling over there on my YouTube and on my Instagram. Go ahead and give me a follow and a subscribe over there.
Yeah. And of course, check us out on every weekday. We're doing the top story of the day late in the afternoon. We're doing another show here. If you haven't done already, go ahead and subscribe. Follow us on all the different social medias. And remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, which is what?
You gotta enjoy it, guys. Enjoy wrestling.
You gotta enjoy it.